Hello, my name is Thomas Hoff. I'm a professor of organizational psychology at the University of Oslo. My field of research is how to develop workplaces, one, in order to increase productivity, and two, in order to reduce sickness and loss. Every day I see the effects hiring has on organizations, for better or worse. Some employees contribute to the productivity and profitability of the company, and some clearly do not. Managers tend to think that they have some special powers where they have the ability to predict who will perform well simply by talking to the candidate. This is flawed. They cannot and they do not. As a professor and practitioner of the field, I'm very surprised to see that corporations and organizations are so unsure about how to choose the best candidate for the job. In 1998, Schmidt and Hunter published a study summarizing 85 years of research on the correlation between different hiring methods and the actual real-life performance of the candidates. As we speak, an updated version of this paper is being published and now summarizes more than 100 years of research. The results are staggering. They should be read very carefully by businesses, by business owners, by HR and stakeholders. This stuff has very large implications for shareholder equity. So let's start with some criteria or methods that either do not predict performance at all or to a very little degree. 1. The age of the candidate does not matter at all. 2. The numbers of years of education does not matter at all. 3. Graphology, the science of handwriting analysis, is a complete scam. 4. Emotional intelligence, or EQ, is not a thing and does not exist. And 5. Attitudes. Contrary to what most managers think, attitudes are an elusive concept and it surely does not predict anything. It's like, I just need employees with the right attitudes. That's what we in scientific terms call bullshit. Surprisingly, personality traits are very poor predictors of performance. Extrovertness, openness to experience, agreeableness and neuroticism hardly predicts performance at all. In addition, these tests are very prone to faking, which leaves personality fairly useless in choosing the right candidate for the job. I would say with one notable exception though. If you use so-called fake-proof personality tests and carefully and algorithmically combine all the big 5 facets, then you get a medium effect size, which is absolutely useful, don't get me wrong. So let's move on to other criteria or methods that have a medium effect size. One such criteria are grades, used a lot in law firms, for example. Grades predict performance to some degree, but other techniques are much more efficient and renders grades a fairly useless criteria for selecting people for jobs. Reference checks also predict future performance to some degree. They are useful, but should not be relied upon to any extent. Job testing, job simulations, case solving, often referred to as assessment centers, have a moderate ability to predict performance. These methods are not even close to justifying the high cost and high effort by managers and HR, particularly because other methods are way more effective and cost efficient. So let's move on instead to methods that have a large effect on predicting future performance. In an interview, managers and HR apply their experience, knowledge, skills and abilities in order to get a feel for how the candidate will perform. In this case, that gut feeling tends to be very suitable for finding the correct candidate. What managers and HR see, feel and think is critical. But interviews need to be combined with other methods in order to find candidates that will perform optimally. So the absolute king of performance prediction is something called general mental abilities, or GMA for short. GMA is the mental speed, and it measures the brain's ability to understand and process information as quickly and accurately as possible. If the brain was a muscle, then GMA is the measurement of the strength of that muscle. GMA correlates very strongly with actual performance, even in manual jobs. An advantage of GMA testing is that it is fair and unbiased, because GMA tests can be carried out without necessary language skills or even knowledge about a particular culture. So GMA is the speed of the brain, and as such unrelated to background, culture, or personal history. And in addition, candidates tend to feel that the testing process is fair. All things equal, a person with the highest GMA score in the pool will perform around 48% better than the average candidate. I mean, these numbers are shocking. I mean, in my honest opinion, hiring somebody without GMA testing is irrational and it is senseless. So do we really need to test in order to roughly determine GMA? Well, the short answer is yes, due to the so-called Dunning-Kruger effect. People with low mental abilities do not have the mental capacities needed in order to actually realize that they are less smart than others. On the contrary, when we look at people with high GMA, they tend not to believe that they are smarter than other people. In sum, this makes it very difficult to separate people with high GMA from people with low GMA without actually using a test. One of the biggest myths is that GMA is irrelevant for manual labor or other entry-level jobs. This is not true at all. The effects of GMA is actually almost the same for entry-level jobs as it is for executive positions. In addition, they put a lot less stress on managers. In fact, they are often able to lead themselves, what we in the literature call self-management. But let's look for methods that can give an additional value on top of GMA. Structured interviews are very important because they contribute with 18% extra predictive power on top of GMA. Personality as a combined factor contribute with 14% on top of GMA, but only when they are fake-proof. Me and my colleagues at Ebber.com dug even deeper into the results of Schmidt and Hunter to see what effects we could harvest by means of a fully automated digital testing in addition to interviews as a crucial component. In this process, we arrived at a combined correlation between testing and interviews and job performance that is extremely high. We also did statistical simulations in order to assess how effective this algorithm is in predicting performance compared to interviews alone. Based on 10,000 simulations, we were able to show that the combined fake-proof algorithm is 2.56 times more likely to pick the best candidates compared to interviews alone. So in short, the fake-proof algorithm, interviews included, is 256% better than interviews alone. So if you want to hire people that perform well, tend to stay in the job for a while, and that are less prone to sick leave, you should definitely head over to Ebber.com to use the combined fake-proof algorithm.